here, VP of Sales and Marketing for Travel Planners International, and we want to welcome you to the 5 pivots that you need to make this year to save your business in 2020. I'm super excited that you're joining us. If you're watching this webinar, it's because you've downloaded the Fiercely Forward Formula resource guide, or somebody sent you this link because they were super excited. And we dig people like you. That means you are someone who is committed to your business. We want to cover this topic. We were passionate about this topic for all of you because we know as savvy business owners, many of you have been in business for a long time and you've never experienced this before. How many times have we heard this, right, guys? Unprecedented times. Well, we haven't experienced this before. If you're fairly new to the business, you definitely haven't experienced this, and this has probably got you back on your heels. So I have invited 3 of our top advisors, some of our smartest advisors at Travel Planners, to kind of share some of the pivots that they have made this year right now that they're recommending that you do so that you can save that business in 2020. There's still plenty of the year left, and these are things that you can do easily. And if all you get is one thing out of this, that you change one thing, I bet it will help your business. So the 5 pivots that we're going to cover are: how have you pivoted your client communication? How have you pivoted how you're marketing to get new clients? Because wouldn't you agree, guys? There are new clients out there. There's plenty of new clients out there. How have you pivoted your processes? Have things changed in the way that you do your daily, day-to-day processes? What products are you selling? Have you pivoted your product offering? And of course, how have you pivoted your mindset to deal with this COVID-19 and all that it has to offer? So again, we're excited. We are going to give you actionable items, but I can't do this by myself. And quite frankly, the 3 stars with me are the ones that I want you to really listen to. I've got Don Caparella here with us, based out of Arizona, but living in Mexico. And we've got Renee Duncan, our favorite Texan, been in the business a long time. And then Effie Walthall, who is been selling cruises for 20-something years. She knows what she's doing. So before we get started, why don't let me hand it over to you guys. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you sell, how long you've been in the business. Dawn, I'm going to start with you.
Sounds good. So I started in the industry in the late 90s selling corporate travel, but 11 years ago decided to go out on my own and start my own agency. And we now have a team of 20. We consider ourselves a boutique agency, but we do sell the world. And, you know, my personal passion is all inclusives and romance travel. But yeah, so we've, yeah, it's been great.
I love how you say romance travel. Can't you just tell he loves it because he's a romantic?
I love it. You know, honeymoons, destination weddings, right?
I mean, look at him. He's selling the sizzle, right, Effie? Effie talks about how she likes to sell the sizzle all the time. Let's go to you, Effie. Tell the world all about you.
So I'm Effie Walthall, the owner of On Deck Travel. I've been in the business for a little over 25 years. I started in a brick and mortar. I was there for about 15, 16 years, and then moved to TPI, which was the best thing I could have ever done. I have a great team of 6 ladies that work with me, which is, it really comes down to a partnership between the 7 of us. We're always, you know, there for each other and helping each other, so you don't feel like you're dealing with this alone. I specialize in cruises, so that's my specialty. Cruises all over the world. I do FIT as well. But I have a passion for travel, and I have a passion for good food, and they make a great mix, Jen.
They sure do. She is the foodie I love to travel with because she tells me what not to order. How about Renee? Renee Duncan, you've got such a great business. I love hearing your story.
Hello, I'm Renee Duncan out of the Houston area. I've been in business as well for a little over TPI, gosh, for about 15 of those, which I agree with Effie, the best decision yet. Love what I do. I also specialize in honeymoon, destination weddings, do a lot of that, but I do a lot of cruising as well. I'd say mine's probably about, gosh, 60-40. I mean, I'm in Houston, I have ships too, so do a lot of travel. Love what we do, love this, love to be able to help. So I have about 20 agents myself plus. Make a great team. As Effie said, we feed off of each other. We've always got someone there. If one of us can't help, the other one's just right there to help the other. So excited to get this started.
I know, and community is so very important, especially right now. And one of the things that we're noticing that we're starting to master are these types of events, right? Like these virtual events. One of the things we do at TPI all the time is a lot of advisor to advisor interaction and training. And, you know, it's not really always about the suppliers. It's about how each advisor uses and utilizes that supplier. So we've learned a lot in the last few months, that's for sure. So let's get right to it. Let's hit the first pivot, because we know the very first thing everyone had to adjust was, how did you pivot your client communication? When all this started happening back in, I don't know, what month did it start, guys? In March? I feel like we've been dealing with this for a long time.
Late February, early March, yeah.
Early March. At first, it seemed like it was just a wave and we were going to get through it. And then I remember saying, oh, this is going to last a couple of weeks. And then you remember that, Effie? I would call you. I'm like, we're at the tipping point in about 10 days. Boy, was I wrong about that. So tell me, I'd love to hear what's something you guys have done and that you would recommend that you've pivoted in your client communication. And these are people who you book travel with. I'm glad you guys just jumped right in. Effie, how have you adjusted your client communication?
So, definitely keeping my customers informed, of what's going on. So I send out, which I've been doing always, a Tuesday cruise day, but instead of it being a deals kind of email, it's been a little bit of softer communicating, maybe what the cruise ships are doing to move forward, what the suspensions are, maybe how to use your FCC, how to take advantage of that, how to disseminate whether you should do a lift and shift versus, the 125% FCC, and what's the best for the customer. So we've been staying in front of our customers, and that way is kind of explaining, what's going on in the industry and how they should move forward with their booking.
One of the things I know you're doing, and I want to hear from Dawn and Renee as well, is, I heard a lot of people started with the, we're going to be here when you're ready, and the information, like information is key during a crisis time. Over communication is really, really important. So I know all three of you have done a really good job with that. But you can't be afraid to talk about travel as well. So I know, Effie, you kind of morphed a little bit from that real soft, let's have a happy hour and do a cocktail. I think you were making, what's that favorite drink you have all the time? You were making it, you had your husband making it on some Zoom meeting.
Yeah,
the Manhattan or something like that. You kind of morphed it a little bit. Renee, I know you work with a lot of groups, like really large groups. So, and especially when you're doing weddings and destinations, how have you had to pivot your client communication when you've had to cancel their trip or getting them to rebook?
Kind of, a lot of the same, staying in touch, keeping it positive. They are hearing so much negative from the media, whether it's from their family, anybody telling them don't travel, cancel. It's staying in front of them, keeping it positive, telling them, yes, this is the time to keep those travel plans. Not only are they getting future credits and extra onboard credit, if it's a destination, they're getting 125% extra to spend on their other trips. Some of them are able to take 2 trips out of that. So you got to keep it positive. Tell them, I use where all their clients are ready to travel. Everybody's getting tired of being at home. You're going to get, so you've got to keep it positive. You've got to stay in front of them. Let them know how they can use this thing. You just got to stay positive. You hear so much where people they're hesitant to tell them to travel. They sit back and they're like, they don't. I'm opposite. And I'll tell them, gosh, my clients are ready. Everybody's getting so. I'll tell them, no one's canceling. Everybody wants that 125%. So you've got to be the one to stay in front of them.
Yeah, and I like what you're saying. This goes back to the whole why we changed, the industry changed. your name from a travel agent to a travel advisor. Your job is to advise your clients and give them the information they need so that they can make their best decision. I don't think anyone is being forced to go on vacation. Like, I don't know, unless you've got some magic juju the rest of us need, no one's being forced to go on vacation. Your job is to advise them. And so I love that you said keep positive. That's another thing that I've seen some people, they're hesitant of and being scared. I'd written an op-ed in Travel Weekly about we got to get back out on the dance floor, kind of like that 7th grade dance. Someone's got to start getting out there and doing it. Yes. And that's really your job. Dawn, I want you to share the brief story you were sharing with the three of us right before we came on, because you were communicating with a client who had a canceled talc cruise, I believe, but you converted them to something else. So that's kind of like how that client communication has changed quite a bit. They're calling because they needed to cancel. Can you share that real quick? How did you convert that? I think that's great. Oh, Dawn, did we miss you? Did we lose you? Oh, gosh darn it.
Still here.
Good. Did you hear the question about sharing your talc scenario, your experience you just did right before you got on the call with us?
I did not.
That's okay.
No.
I want to.
No. So, if you can give me that question again, we're having some little technical difficulties at the moment.
That's okay. No worries. So I was saying, from a client communication standpoint, Renee was talking about how everyone's helping the clients make good decisions moving forward. And I was pretty impressed with how the communication went from, canceling something with talc to what you converted them to. So tell us a little bit about how you did that, because I have a feeling there's people listening to this webinar that are maybe just trying to replace one with the other, right? You were supposed to go on a cruise in September. Let's put you on a cruise in February, right? But you did something a little different.
Yeah, so absolutely. So I've been, for the last month or so, I've been sending out gentle emails to my clients, just letting them know, hey, I'm still here. When the time is right, reach out to me, and just sort of keeping the lines of communication open. And I was following up with clients that have traveled scheduled for August through December. And I emailed one of my clients who, they travel with me 3-4 times a year. And they were scheduled to go to Spain in September. And they're just feeling a little leery. They're more mature clients. And they just were saying, you know what, I'm not sure we want to travel across the pond. We're definitely going to go back. And if it was another month or two later, we would keep the trip. But we're going to just do something different. And I said, oh, okay, we're going to pivot, right? And so they said, we're going to stay with talc. We love talc tours. And so what do we have that is a good option? And so we found them a Canadian Rockies rail experience with the same tour operator, same level of, service that they want. And so we were able to, save that client from either not traveling at all or canceling entirely or rebooking something else, or just transfer the booking.
Exactly. And the reason that Dawn was able to do that was, and I talk about this often, is you can't be afraid to connect. Like, I think right now, some people are like, I don't want to call. So, and I think I was talking to an advisor the other day, like, I don't want to call on my September sale because I have a feeling they're going to all be canceling. I'd rather wait for them to call me, right? Like, y'all agree with that? You got to get in there.
Save a sale. We can save the sale.
And what
we can. I mean, it's about the communication, and just I have found that if we communicate, so I had previously communicated so much via email and text messaging. Now, if I just pick up the phone and I say, let's get real, let's talk about your travel plans. What is it that you want to experience? Are you willing to postpone? Are you willing to adjust destinations? I am finding the clients are saying, yeah, I'm going to stick with you. Let's just alternate our plans. Yeah.
Renee and Effie, are you finding the same thing? 'Cause I know you both are big phone call people.
I am. That's what I was going to say. That it makes a huge difference because a lot of them are sitting there waiting. They don't know which way what to do, which way to go. It's easier just to push it aside, not have to think about it. So I've turned it around and I do the same thing. I'll call them and I'll present new ideas to them because I'll say, you know what, Jen, if we wait till August or September and you're wanting to go, it's going to be booked because as soon as this opens up, it's going to be crazy. So let's get ahead of the game. Let's get you booked on what you want. That way you get the categories, the room category, the destination, what you want. So I've found that's really, you be proactive and get them to book. They're waiting for that. They're looking for guidance.
Absolutely.
So,
and I love that you're assuming the sale, right, Effie? Like you're not calling to say, do you want to cancel or do you want to Effie, I can't ever imagine you just saying, hey, I'm calling to see if you want to cancel and get a refund. Would you ever do that?
No, matter of fact, I feel kind of like the odd man out here because I am not calling customers and asking them, if they're going to go in October on their cruise to the Caribbean. My mom taught me to let a sleeping baby sleep and let a lying dog lie. So that's why I kind of feel like the odd man out, but I want to be honest, I am not doing those things.
I wouldn't call for
Now, if the cruise line cancels or if the tour operator cancels or their hotel or the destination, absolutely. I pride myself, so does my team, on we want them to hear from us, not from the cruise line or Facebook or something like that. So the minute we heard the suspensions, we were on the phone running reports, calling the customers saying, I'm so sorry this has happened, but let's get you rebooked. Let's look at different options. When do you feel comfortable? And, all those things that Dawn and Renee are doing, but we don't do it as a team, like proactively. So we could be doing the wrong thing. I don't know.
Well, we're going to have to start celebrating your sales, Effie. Let's see. No, here's the thing, Effie. You stay in front of your clients on a regular basis through your cruise day Tuesdays, through your other stuff. So you're doing it. Everyone has a different way to do it. I think what the three of you are saying, and I know this to be true, no matter what industry you're in, when you're in a crisis, communication is important. And you know your clients well enough. And that's why you've got to look at, how do I need to pivot for my clients? Don might have older clients that really are already, he knows they're already worried, so he's calling and being proactive. Renee's got weddings, my God, brides, my God almighty, I can only imagine what they must be going through. Effie, you just have people who want to be on a good cruise and you put them there. I love it. All right, so let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about marketing. I want to just hear one thing you've shifted in your marketing. Now, the difference between client communication and marketing is client communication is about your clients. Marketing is, I'm looking for new clients. I'm communicating to people who have not done business with me before. So what have you done differently? Have you tried anything different? Have you done anything different? I'm going to start with you, Effie, because I know for sure, I know one thing you've started differently and it's working. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, so I started doing Zooms with the suppliers, but with my customers. So this is the first time I've actually, is it segregated my email list?
Mm-hmm.
Segmented the email list. So for clients that I had that hadn't booked through me, I mean, they always get my information anyway. But I found that I got probably about a dozen new people that came out of the woodwork from these Zooms. They're really enjoying the interaction with, I did one with Celebrity, I did one with Royal Caribbean, and I did one last night with Carnival, where we do something like a town hall, and they do like it was so cute. Kirsten did a simulated tour, ship inspection of the Mardi Gras. She did an amazing job. Like, we felt like we were on the ship.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so I actually got a few clients. I don't even know how I got them, but they were on there and we were saying hi and they're like, oh, Effie, we get your emails. And so they contacted me, this morning and said, I want to look at booking a Carnival cruise.
That's awesome.
One thing that was, has been big, something completely different than I've done before.
And I think the reason why the Zooms are working is people are getting used to communicating this way, right? A lot of people are working from home now. I know for us at TPI, this is how we communicate with our staff, my team members. I even said once we go back to the office, I'm probably just going to call you from my office via video. There's no reason for me to get up and walk over there. So people are getting more used to it. And as Renee had kind of alluded to, people are tired of being at home. They want to travel for sure. All right, so cool, F. Congrats on that.
Can I say one other thing? So let me just tell you. So there was good news and bad news. So we had 50 people, about 48 people sign up. Mm-hmm. And out of that 48, I've only had booked maybe 2 of them. So these were all new. Now, granted, I want to be honest, out of those 50 that RSVP'd, only 25 showed up.
But that's okay.
That's
and so
great.
The important thing is to follow up. So I have Krista right now sending out an email and saying, sorry you couldn't make it, to the ones that couldn't make it. And I'm excited you were able to make it, and put the call to action on there. So fingers crossed, maybe some sales.
Yes, I think there's no doubt you'll get some sales from that. Renee or Dawn, what's something cool and different that you've done from a marketing standpoint?
So for me, as we've gone through the last 2 months, I said, well, I need to be inspired myself, right? Because we're all human and we say, what the heck is going on? And I said, you know what, if I need inspiration and I need to pick me up, then I know my clients or potential clients need that. And so I adjusted my marketing for new clients to include more photos, more videos. We sent out drink recipes, because who doesn't love a Thursday, Friday? Well, at this point, any kind of cocktail, right? But so we had that, but and then I sent out destination videos. I sent out pictures of my own trips from the last decade or 2. And so I decided that instead of just doing the traditional marketing of, hey, I have a special for you today, I decided to go more into the interpersonal and more into the let's resonate together, let's get together, let's just be happy, right? And so so I'm doing more video marketing, like how-tos, and it's less about it's less about we need to book travel right this second, but it's about building that relationship and keeping that relationship, and also most importantly, having fun, because really at the end of the day, that's why we're in this business, because it's fun. So that's sort of been my thing, because it keeps me going every day.
And do you think you're going to change that once we are post-COVID? Do you think you're going to now no longer do lifestyle stuff, or is this something new that you've added to your repertoire?
I have learned so much in the last few months. I think I was doing a good job at operating my business, but I think, I know that this has taught me many lessons, and that this is only going to propel my agency further. And boy, it's taken a kind of crappy situation to get us there, but you know what? We're all a work in progress, and I am so excited to see the future. Don't get me wrong, stumbling blocks, but I'm going to adopt all of this, and we're just going to keep going.
Love it. Love it. Renee, tell me something that I'd love to hear from you. Is there something you're no longer going to do because you found a new way of marketing, or is there something you've adopted? Share with me.
I love all of that. And a lot of that I'm doing as well. And I've found myself letting the clients be a part of all the conversations now, instead of me being the main one talking about promoting, talking about destinations of what I like. I've kind of put it back in their hands a little more. So we'll do things in our Zooms or in the emails or Facebook Lives where it's what is your top 3 destinations you want to see when this is all over? Where, kind of putting it in their hands to where they're all talk about it, instead of in a negative way about travel right now, where we're hearing everywhere, it's positive. So it gets them feeding off a thing. And then that leads to cruise line. Where do we want to go? Where's your top destination you want to see open up so that you can cruise? It's kind of getting them feeling and talking positive about travel. And not only do their friends see it that I work with, now it's just once they start posting, it's opened up to a whole new group of clients. And I've gotten quite a few reach out because of that. So if you get them to roll with you, I've really seen a big contact with that.
That's so smart because it's about them sharing their story. One of the things that we've talked about, one of my most favorite Facebook Lives I've done this year was with John Trineski from Princess Cruises. And he talks about how there's three levels to the travel experience. There's the preparation, there's the actual experience, and then there's the post experience. And he said the preparation, the anticipation, the dreaming portion is the most exciting, the most fulfilling portion of it all. And so by getting them to dream and to think, I mean, like right now there's a watch I want to buy and I'm like, I've got it like on my screensaver. I'm like Googling it. I did it right before we started this. And like, I think I can afford it now.
I love that.
I pray to God it's just as exciting once I put it on my wrist, because it'll be very disappointing if it's not. But, you know, that's what we have to do. So I love these ideas. For all of you guys listening, there is a separate webinar that we recorded called how to create a Facebook community that converts. And it talks a lot about what Renee was just referencing with regards to having your clients and your prospects talk to one another and creating an actual Facebook community, AKA a group, and getting them to be the ones that are part of the conversation. So make sure you listen to that webinar next. All right, thanks guys. All right, real quick, is there a process or a daily structure you had to adjust? Is there anything specific that you would give as guidance? Even if you didn't adjust, what's the one thing you've relied on? Is it a CRM? Is it a piece of technology? I'll start with you, Renee.
I'm really still doing the same as I was. I've just added extra columns or added extra, you know, I keep focused and keep doing things the same way, just adding a level, you know? So no, I've really not had to.
That means you were organized to begin with, Renee.
Yes. Yeah, try to be.
Exactly. Effie or Dawn, is there anything you've added, any changes you've made to your processes?
For my internal team of agents, we're doing more touch points. So we had monthly team meetings, and we also had, you know, other TPI webinars and things of that sort. But we're doing more of getting our business development managers involved. We are having more one-on-ones involved, and we're just getting the team more engaged so that nobody seems lost or out there on their own. And so that really seems to be helping with our engagement level. So that's the process we've changed the most, is just our internal communication.
Sure. This is a great time. Everyone says, you know, if the phone's not ringing off the hook right now, use that, you know, running a business, especially a travel business, is a 7-day-a-week job. Raise your hand if you work 7 days a week in your travel business at some point. All right. And if you're watching this and you're not raising your hand, you might not be as successful as you want to be. It is an ongoing, because you're an entrepreneur. So if you're already super organized, just adding columns, that cracks me up. There's just more columns to add. I love that, Renee. And now's a good time to really kind of beef up on your training. Hence the reason why many of you are watching this webinar.
Yeah.
Exactly. Effie, is there anything that you recommend that you make sure every advisor that you know has? Is there a technology or a system or a process?
I mean, for me, I think having a CRM is key, especially now, because it's the fact of keeping organized and keeping the notes of who you've canceled, who has the FCC, when you submitted the refund. You know, there's just so many different layers to it now that I don't know what I would do without my CRM. So I keep all of that in there. So I think that's super important. And then, you know, as far as something, you know, that you're not used to doing is, you know, after you're running those reports, doing something with those reports and following up with the customers that have an FCC or a future travel credit, because remember, they can use that travel credit with whomever they want to use it with. Okay.
Point. Bring that up, Effie. Sing it, girl. Sing it.
Yeah, so it's so important. Like I pick Fridays, I have my list and I go through and I say, matter of fact, I just did it last night. I was doing it early because I might cheat and go to the beach tomorrow. But anyway, and I just and I was doing rebooked, and I have it in red. So I have that there. So I know who I need to follow up with and say, hey, it's time. We need to decide what you're going to do with these FCCs. So that's just an additional column, like Renee said, something that we weren't doing before. And I think another thing I want to just give a little tip when you're on the phone with these res agents, as far as adding another column, is making sure when you're getting information that you're getting their name. And a new process that I've done, not only am I getting their name, but I'm writing down the exact time I spoke.
I do
Because
too,
if they
always.
need to go back and pull the call, you will have their name and about the time that you spoke to them. Because what my challenge is I'm having a lot of res agents. You get one answer from one, you get another answer from another. And that actually happened to me yesterday with Carnival Cruise Lines. And I asked her, I need your name. I wrote down the time that, we spoke. And that's another thing I'm making note of in the client screen of my CRM. So it's just dotting your I's and crossing your T's.
It's a great piece of advice. I would say also for advisors out there, one of the words that Effie brought up was follow up. I know there's the follow up on the FCC. Did you do everything? Listen, there's a lot of deadlines out there, a lot of dates, right, Renee? I know you had a situation where you missed a date because it was buried in the T's and C's of something, and that's the last thing you want to do. So having a follow-up folder, having a process in place, that's really important, not just for the FCCs right now, but also for the quotes. Because if you get really good at it during this time frame, you're going to be really masters at constantly following up on those quotes. And I always say until the restraining order shows up, you keep calling, right? And you keep trying to close that deal till the cop shows up with that piece of paper saying, please don't call these people anymore. So, you got to have that kind of, stick to itiveness. A CRM is really important. I would also say that something that everybody should be adding to their process is setting sales goals and setting money goals. I do a great webinar called your profitability formula. It's a little form that we put together, and it's all of our advisors, I tell them every single year, how much money do you want to make? How much money do you want to bring home this year? How much money are you stroking a check to yourself for? This is the time for you, now that you've lost all your sales, which some people have told me, I've lost everything I've worked on. Now, you know what? Start from zero. Everybody starts at zero, and then you get one, and then you get two, and then you get three. But you want to build that business. This is a good time for you to build that profitability side to it and say, how much money do I need to pay myself for me to be excited about this as my business? What are my bills? What kind of conferences do I want to go to? FAMs? How much is it costing for insurance? So on and so forth. So there is a profitability formula that is included in this resource guide that you can use. Now's a really good time, and hold yourself accountable. I know all three of these people on here are salespeople. For your business owners, but your salespeople as well. Is that correct?
That is right. And
if you didn't say yes, you'd be kicked off the webinar. I'm just saying.
Yeah. And I could tell you that profitability workshop we did in Vegas last year, that was a business changer. And it was all thanks to you, Jen Lee, because I then rolled that out to my team of 20, and everybody said, oh, these are the numbers we need to look at. And at the end of the year, every single person on the team had increased their sales because they were aware of, oh, these are my costs. This is how many sales I need. So I'm telling you, like, if anything, everybody needs to follow Jen Lee and that worksheet, whatever you're offering to folks, because that will change people's business.
It's a worksheet, and I have said for years, just do what I tell you to do, and everything's going to work out. Effie's known me for how many, 15 years, 12, 15 years. I'm just do what I tell you to do. All right. So I want to ask this question, but I also want to encourage that it's okay if you haven't pivoted in this area. Right now, a lot of people are saying, thank goodness I didn't pick a niche. Thank goodness I do a little bit of everything for everybody because, you know, cruises aren't cruising, but I know something about FITs. And then there's another school of thought that's like, thank goodness I niched because I'm nailing it in this area, but I do need to pivot because I got to make some money. I'd like to hear, are you niche? Did you niche? Which I kind of know the answer to all three of you. Or do you have a niche? Are you sorry that you have a niche? And have you pivoted and started to sell different products? Or are you sticking with what you know? I'm going to start with you, Miss Effie.
So yes, the majority of my business is cruise. So this has hit me particularly hard. And I did a lot of soul searching of, you know, what to do next and whether I should pivot or not. You know, I would say 25% of my business is all inclusives, FIT Europe, that type of thing. And I kept thinking to myself, Jen, what do I do? What excites me, right? And for me, waking up and selling a trip to Washington, D.C. does not excite me. So right now I've choose to keep doing what I'm doing. I've decided, I think I finally made the decision that I'm not going to pivot and try to do Americation, which I think is great. And I think those that gets their juices flowing, they should absolutely do that. But that just does not get my juices flowing. And not to say that I wouldn't, if someone called me and said, I want to go to the national parks, that I wouldn't book them, because absolutely I would. I'm here for sales. I'm here for you. And I'm going to do the very best, but I have chosen not to pivot. I'm going to just kind of.
But I think
forward, Jen, moving fiercely forward.
I love it. Good, good.
And I'm getting on the dance floor, baby.
Come on, let's get it going. So I think it's important for people to own where you want to take your business. Too often we're hearing people saying, you must do this. Why aren't you doing this? Heck, even right now, you know, to mask or not to mask. I mean, now we're being mean to people because they don't want to wear a mask or they do want to wear, you know, it's like, it's just do you, boo. And so I like that I like that you're all in with your decision on that, Effie. And so you're going to empower people who are like, really don't want to sell something differently, or I don't want to sell cruises, even though maybe they might come back faster. Ocean cruising might come back faster than river or vice versa. I think it's great. Don, what have you decided to do?
So we've decided in the short term that our focus needs to be on destinations that are going to come back sooner than later. You know, we're optimistic that the entire globe will be at our disposal in the next year, but we're also pragmatic and we also want to make a paycheck, right? So we are focusing on all-inclusive resorts in the Caribbean, Mexico, Costa Rica, and we're also focusing on domestic travel. I'm working closely with our business managers for river cruises and within the United States. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, between the United States and all-inclusives, that's sort of our starting point right now to launch again and really do just amazing work. But then we want to get back to our tried and true Europe tours, FITs, and things like that. But we haven't lost our hope, that's for sure. And we're seeing folks are saying, yeah, we may not be able to cross the pond this year, but we're still willing to travel. It's just going to be a little different than what it looked like in the past years.
And I think that's fantastic, giving people an option, you know, a place to land versus saying you can't have your vacation this year. I mean, I literally am like, your vacation was stolen. It's a good thing I'm not a travel advisor. I think I'd be
stolen. I love you.
Your vacation was stolen from you. We've got to rebook you with something. So what can we do together? Like, I'll rent you I was going to say Hertz, but I think they're going out of business now, but I'll get you a car somewhere. Renee, how about you and your team? What have you guys decided to do, you and your team?
Same thing. I am still, and that's funny you say stolen, because dadgummit, I've had 4 trips stolen, and I'm bummed. So I use that one.
Ireland.
Yes, Ireland, our top sales. So I use that when I'm talking to my clients too. I'll tell them, my gosh, I should have already been here, 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 and here. I am so ready. I want them to know I'm positive and I'm eager to go, you know, so that helps them. But kind of the same thing. I'm still focusing on all inclusives everywhere. Same with I kind of went away in that area right now, unless they bring it up, and more focus on Caribbean, Mexico, that area. Of course, all the cruises, U.S. cruises instead of maybe Europe, kind of because I still want to promote those suppliers. It's not that I'm necessarily pivoting to bring in more domestic, but how ironic. You know me, I stay positive with everything, and I say things happen for a reason, and I truly believe that. Right before this happened in February, I had met Utah Luxury Tours, which does the Big Five and a lot of different trips like that. And he had been coming at me for a while to do a fam trip. So I took 5 of my agents in February to Utah and did the Big Five. Probably one of the most amazing trips I've ever done. So, I mean, so I've put together a lot of things like that and promoting that out too. So keep doing what you're doing. Don't let this change what your focus is or what you're trying to sell, or you're going to be right where the naysayers are. Stay positive and get them traveling.
Yep, absolutely. And again, everyone's got something different. Maybe it's like, I just don't want to do that anymore, or I'm a brand new business. Many of you guys have just launched your business and you're not sure of what to do next. We've got several different examples in this resource guide. We call it Travel America. There's the staycation, the statecation, and the Americation. And the staycation is actually kind of like a really cool thing that you could do to kind of put out there. But quite frankly, we don't think you're going to sell a lot of those. What you're going to do is you're going to prompt people to go, you know what, we do want to go away for a long weekend. We're really not sure what to do. Can you help us with that? And then you know what that is, guys? That's a conversation. And that's really, when you have a conversation, it leads to qualifying questions. It leads to you listening, which leads to you offering something, guiding them down, advising your clients. And before you know it, they are on an around the world cruise where they really wanted to just go down the street to the Holiday Inn Express. You've now upsold them on some expedition with Hurtigruten. I'm just saying, it's possible. It's all possible.
I was going to say that too, Jen. It's kind of back to when we first started. A lot of them, happening, they think that's what they want, and they want to go US bound. They want to just get a hotel, they want to drive. Well, I'll go along with that with them, and once I start putting it together and showing the cost of traveling and the hotels and the food and the drinks and the entertainment, it's right back to where when we first started, how we had to sell. It's the same thing. They're like, oh my gosh, you're all inclusive again. So kind of back to the start, back to the beginning.
We just got to get them out of their house, get them dreaming out of the house.
That's right.
Right?
Yes,
Unless you make money with them staying in their homes, you got to get them out of the house.
Right.
So I want to end with mindset. Now, this is a loaded question because I know the 3 of you have a positive mindset. None of you have had to actually pivot your mindset. But what is the piece of advice that you have for those listening? Something that you fall back on, something that, because we all have bad days. I know we all have bad days, but what is it that you fall back on, or what piece of advice do you have? And I'm going to start with you, Dawn. What piece of advice do you have for those listening?
Well, and you're right, Jen. Some days are easier than others, right? Let's not fool each other. This has been a trying period. But for some of us who've been in the industry through 9/11 and then the mortgage downfall and the financial collapse and now this, my words of advice are, it's just, I never give up. I keep telling myself, even at night, if I've had a frustrating day and I haven't had a sale in a week and I'm not getting anybody responding to me, just never give up, because it will come back, and it does come back, because you know what? People travel. And even if they're taking a pause at the moment, they will travel again. And if you are genuine and you're communicating with them, they're going to come back to you. And so that's what I remind myself. And I've had to do it more times than not lately. But I remind myself, yeah, just never give up.
That bathroom mirror motivation. You're in the bathroom, you're looking in the mirror, you can do this, big guy. You got this.
Some days I'm like, never give up. But no, just keep with it. We just have to keep with it, because it's the best industry in the world.
It really is. Renee, what would you say is yours? I mean, you are so positive. I love spending time with you because you always lift me up too. So what's your piece of advice? What's your
Don, that's excellent, excellent advice. I say the same thing. You've got to stay positive. Don't give up. Everybody loves travel. And you got to surround yourself with positive people too. You want to have people around you that are positive and that are excited. And if not, that's your chance to get them that way. So don't try to stay away from the naysayers. There's a lot of them out there right now. You've just got to get out there and promote what you know and what you love. Just like Dawn says, everyone travels, and so does their friends and family. So if you stay positive, you keep promoting it, you're going to do well. I mean, it's just.
And I love the getting away from the naysayers. And I bet some of the people that you love the most or that are closest to you, besides Marvin, because Marvin is not a naysayer, but a lot of family right now might be putting pressure on people right now to get out of the business or to, what are you, crazy,
And you've got to remember too and I coming back to that because I hear it so much, is your clients, they are hearing it all the time from the media to their coworkers to their families. As soon as that client, they're going to reach out to their travel agent about a trip. They get slammed. Right. So you've got to be prepared. You've got to be that one putting the positivity into the conversation and have them call you. Same thing what I was saying was doing the Facebook things, getting them on a positive side, talking travel. That's the start. Right now, nobody's traveling. No, we want to talk travel. So keep positive. It's going to turn around.
I love it when people say no one's traveling. It's like, that's not a true statement. That's a lie. Exactly. You just lied. That's not a true statement. People are traveling every single day. Right now.
That's right.
Effie, what's your piece of advice? What keeps you going? How do you keep that mindset so fiercely forward?
Yeah, that's my word, is fiercely forward, and don't look in the rear view mirror. Like, the cancellation, sometimes that can be very overwhelming, but that was yesterday, right? So we got to focus on today and what we can do the best for our business today, the best for our customers today. And because if you keep looking in your rear view mirror, you're not going to be looking forward to get those sales or those opportunities for your business. So for me, it's been a very hard mental thing. So I have to just keep looking forward, and that there's a brighter horizon, and this too shall pass. Like Dawn said, I've been through 9/11, SARS, MERS, swine flu. I even had this.
And we're still here.
We're still here. And
Mexico. I've only been in the business 5 years, and we've already gone through a couple of things already. And you know what? It's going to happen. Something else is going to happen. This is your chance also to really kind of flex that resilience muscle that we all have. That sometimes we haven't been challenged or struggled enough to know that we have it. And so I always tell people, when you're going through a tough time, think back on something from high school. Like, it's always high school or middle school that you think your world is going to end. Johnny didn't say yes to me, or Molly no longer wants to be my friend. I'm coming home, and that was the end of the world. I got an F on a research paper. These were all like end of the world moments back then, but we came back. Didn't make cheerleading, but we came back. And every day, we can keep it really basic. Every day that we wake up and there's breath, you have a chance. Like that, God just gave you one more day, or at least that hour. You might trip and fall on the way to the bathroom, but you had breath when you woke up. I also want to end this with, first off, thanking the three of you, Dawn, Renee, and Effie, for being such positive influences in our industry, not just within our TPI agent base, advisor base, our family, our TPI family, but to me personally. As a VP of the organization, I have 4,100 people that I'm trying to take good care of. And the three of these rock stars, guys, you guys got to meet three of our best rock stars. So thank you guys so very much.
Thanks, Jen.
You do.
Yeah, we love you. And then for those of you that are listening, remember something. You are part of story. This is a story that is going to be studied. It is going to be questioned. It is going to be scrutinized. It is going to be documented for decades and decades and decades. And you're in the travel industry. We were the industry that's been affected the most, the earliest. We will have the most amount of change, the most length of time in it. And you being in the industry, you're part of that story. And I think that's a beautiful thing if you can look back at that and say, wow, I was there. It's kind of like what happened. All New Yorkers have a very different experience about 9/11 than those of us that were in Florida. People in Pennsylvania have a very different experience. You in the travel industry have a very different experience. You determine how we come out of this. And you have the four of us that are on this webinar right now. Plus, if you're with a host agency right now, you have a great community. Please tap into that. If you don't have partners with you, if you don't have good, positive people that are moving fiercely forward, dump them and find somebody else. Get with the people that are making this industry one step at a time, one day at a time, move forward. Thank you again to the three of you. And did you want to say something, Renee?
Going to say something for those that maybe don't have someone or aren't with a host agency, and I call family too. You know, there's been some situations here lately with some of my clients that, and I'm just like the other two, a top producer. I sell a lot of travel, and a lot of the suppliers know me very well. Even with that being said, I would have never got a refund or a next step for my client, which I would have lost if it wasn't for Jen Lee with TPI. Being right there backing me, emailing that supplier saying, hey guys, we got to do this together. So if you don't have someone that has your back or someone that you can lean on, call you about making that change. It's a game changer. I appreciate you, Jen.
I appreciate you. And yes, we're, arm in arm. It's not enough to say we're in it together. If all you're doing is just watching the emails fly through, you've got to be in it together. So I'm sure you guys all have people out there, but if you don't, we'd love for you to be part of our family. But if not, no big shakes. We are here to serve the entire industry, and we believe in you guys. So, all right, I'm getting sappy. You're going to make me cry. Let's not do that. Thank you, guys. Send us emails. Be part of the Fiercely Forward Formula Facebook page, and we can't wait to hear about your success. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.